Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Yo, that's so angry, guys.
Nope.
Hey, that's pretty good.
What was that? What? Jaime used the headphones just attacked him, and he just went ape shit right now.
Flip this shit. Give me a second.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to DC TV. It is Tuesday, September 20th, and it is 9:01 a.m. The S&P futures right now are down about 26 points. The Dow's down around 194. The NASDAQ is down 85. We got Bitcoin that is up 1.71% at 321 points at $19,130 per Bitcoin. We have a great show today. We got Greg back in the house. We also have Tamp hanging out here as well. What's up, girlfriend?
How we doing? How about that Bitcoin bounce? Surprised me.
Bro,
Surprised me.
that bounce was crazy.
I opened up a chart. I said, damn, did Bitcoin bounce? And everybody around me said, yeah.
We're
Like,
still
okay.
sitting at support, guys. So it dipped below, came right back up.
That was a hell of a V bounce, though, Jaime, right? I mean,
on
that
the daily,
sucker,
absolutely.
ding.
Yes.
I mean, a perfect letter V for
Yep.
vendetta.
On the weekly, it could be a dragonfly doji, meaning a reversal. It depends on how we close at the end of this week. I always look at higher time frames because it's harder to fool the market on higher time frames.
Hey, Jaime,
Yes, sir.
how come every time you say something, it's always the end of this week?
Because I only
of
look.
this week.
So show this screen, please, sir. If you
So
pull
next
up the
week it's
screen,
going
There it
to
is.
be, hey, the
There
end
it
of
is,
this
okay.
week will be key.
zoom in. Let me tell you,
All right, you
Yes.
just fucking take it. There,
Greg.
there
I
you
love the fact that you push my buttons. Bro.
Holler. Did I watch?
No, guys, that's why Greg and I work so well at Metafy. It's because I'll come up with an idea in the morning. Greg's like,
That's fucking stupid.
Yeah, before or after coffee. It really
exactly. It's
depends.
like, bro, really? So I love this. So here's why I look at higher time frames. So for example, on the weekly, remember yesterday we were looking at this chart where Bitcoin was sitting on support and then it fell down. Now, this has 5 days to complete the candle, the formation. If we end up green right up here, that's a dragonfly doji. That's usually the reversal, meaning it goes up. A weekly candle or a weekly formation has higher value, or it's more likely to be true than a daily, hourly, 4-hour, the day traders. Day trader, it's like cocaine and hookers do trading at those levels. But
Well,
on the
hold on. Is that an article? Did I miss it? Hold on. Where's that article, Brad? I need that.
I haven't published it yet.
You should start publishing
Still in,
shit.
still in R&D mode. We got you.
So thanks, Tim. So on the weekly, it's more accurate for the long term, and that's what I've learned in my trading journey is that if you move to higher time frames, especially in crypto, you are less likely to be faked out or your money taken from you, all your value taken from you. So in this instance, what we're looking at is 5 days left to get a confirmation of direction. So this could be a double bottom, as we spoke of yesterday. And then at this moment, we're defining, do we continue up or do we come down? So on Sunday, midnight UTC, which is around 7 p.m. Eastern, our time zone on New York, Charlotte area, Florida, Miami.
New York, Charlotte area. That's quite a span.
sorry.
Damn.
So I'm looking at the map vertically.
Atlanta, Miami, Jacksonville,
I forgot DC, guys. I forgot DC.
Boston.
The colonial state area.
There you go. The
Jesus.
first 13,
The colonies,
baby.
yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So
The colonies time zone.
yeah. So in this instance, if we close on top of this line where I'm at right now, this purple fib line, if we close above this, we now have a support point, where the market can return. Of course, there's big news coming up now on regarding interest rate and everything. So we'll see if this is a fake out or not. And then we'll continue on down. So by Sunday, if we're on top of here, we're on support. We could see a run up. If we close below this line here, which is below the rest of them, then we should see by next week some action headed south in terms of price. That simple. And why higher time frames? Because it's less likely to be faked out. But yes, or where it reverses on you, unless there's a black swan event, of course. And that's it. I made my piece, guys. Sorry. Thanks.
Don said, yeah, you guys should visit my area, the Kansas City, LA, Cali area.
No, not LA, bro. LA, Cali are in a different time zone. Let's say Chicago, guys.
Yeah, Chicago, Kansas City area.
We have a guest of honor out there.
Oh, we got a sick kid.
Oh.
Yeah. My
Hey,
princess
Taylor.
is sick. Say hi.
Hi,
Hey.
Hi, hi.
hi.
Okay, go sit on the couch, okay? Couch.
Dad has got to get back to work and say a lot of cuss words.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
He is a sailor.
No one F-bomb right for a second.
That's right.
Just for a minute.
She didn't have earphones though.
Yes.
That's fair. That was sweet. Okay, so we got some things to discuss today. One of them, the big headline right now today is going to be the Fed. Fed right now, over I should say not right now, but 2020 to 21, everybody was making money. Now the Fed's like, not so fast. We're going to do the rug pull this time, and have been raising rates like crazy. Let me take that back. Not like crazy, but they've been raising rates and creating a lot of volatility in the markets. And today they probably will still carry on with that trend. I put in the chat here that in our poll today, what are we seeing as far as interest rates? There's general consensus that 75 basis points is going to be where they come in at. We'll have to hear from them around 1 or 2 p.m. Eastern time today as far as what those numbers actually are. The Fed is right now meeting this morning. I had mentioned in the poll this morning, how high are interest rates going up today, just to poll you guys to see where we're at. Almost nobody is saying 50 basis points. And general consensus here is also around 75. So over 50% saying 75 basis points. About 20% of you are saying 100. And then the other 20 says, who cares, buy Bitcoin.
This morning you were speaking that 100 was more likely than 50 if we're out of the expected 75.
I had it backwards. I said it backwards. So I said that if there was if it wasn't going to be 75, I thought there would be a higher probability we'd see 50 versus 100.
Excellent.
And the only reason I say that is because of the pressure that I would imagine the Fed is under from the Biden administration. And if he raised it 100 basis points, everybody will lose their mind.
Yes.
The market will not be happy about that.
It would affect their chances also down the road.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, and what are you going to do? Raise rates just so you can lower them again?
No, you're going to do what Don Fran just said in his comment because it's brilliant and it's perfect. This is what you're going to do.
The Don says, I hope Powell comes out in a MAGA hat and raises 150 basis points just for the comedic value alone.
Why not? They need to come out and just put it at 100.
Yeah.
Really
Well,
do.
so yes. And I'm not saying that. So I'm not, my own predictions aren't based off of what I want to see happen. These are just what I think could happen. So, and I'm here with Lord Fenrir says they need to hurry up and get that to 6.5%. Ripping the Band-Aid off would certainly be helpful if they just got it out of the way so we can move on instead of just continually, death by 1,000 cuts sort of approach. But, we'll see what they have to say. Again, the consensus here is going to be 75 basis points. What does this mean for your investments? What does this mean for Bitcoin and the crypto side as well? I'll let you guys give your comments on that. As far as me, for those of you who are more into the traditional side of investing, I think that we've talked about this on the Chaos. Go follow me over there. You guys can join me this afternoon. I'll be giving my live reactions to the Fed. But I think that it is still going to matter a ton that you're in investments, and this is just my opinion, of course, that getting into stocks that have pricing power, and we've talked about this a little bit here as well. Food, for example, Costco has earnings this week. I think that Costco is going to be a really good one to look at, especially because we haven't had a special dividend from them for about 2 years, and those special dividends are usually monstrous. If you guys aren't aware of what a special dividend is, it is a dividend that gets issued based off of performance, and it is outside of the normal quarterly dividend that they issue. So it's very random. Nobody knows when it actually gets issued. You just kind of have to guesstimate when they're going to have those out. Traditionally, it's like every 2 years that Costco comes out with one. The last one they had was in December of 2020. So we're pretty close. That's something to keep an eye on. So your Kroger's, again, stocks that have pricing power. Energy is still very much on the table. I think that energy I still feel like is a sector to be in. We've talked about Pioneer Natural Resources, ticker symbols PXD. They have the best dividend in the S&P 500 at 13.5% yield, which is insane. And the stock is also performing really well. It's up 37% compared to the S&P that's down 19%. So those are the types of areas that I would look in. Stocks that have pricing power that aren't affected by inflation as much as some of the other ones, especially when we're looking at tech that is deflationary. But right now, tech, especially tech that doesn't make any money, that isn't profitable, is going to be the ones that I would personally stay away from just because they're so sensitive to interest rate hikes. They will be able to be bought at some point. I just don't think now is the time to take a look at those.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And on the more crypto side of thing, I would say two things. I would say, one, make sure that you continue to DCA. If you're just in Bitcoin, a proof of work coin, continue to DCA. Why? Because the levels are low, obviously, but also when you dollar cost average, this is more about exposure than it is price. And I will continue to harp on that. Dollar cost averaging is not just about price. You need exposure to the market. You get more exposure in a bear market. So that way, when it inevitably does turn into a bear market, or, the price increases on Bitcoin, you have a larger exposure to said market than you would trying to buy everything at one single price. So on the crypto side of things, number one, just continue to DCA. And number two, if you are in any sort of proof of stake altcoins right now, continue to get the yield from the proof of stake coins that you have locked up, and continue to take that yield. And depending on your situation, do one of two things: either reinvest those rewards right back into itself, again, enlarging your bag overall over time. Or number two, if you need to, you can sell what your yields for your rewards from yields, you can sell those so that you can eat or pay your rent or do whatever else that you can do with passive money, right? With that passive income. So proof of stake does have a place because it does give rewards in the form of a coin that you can do whatever you need to do with according to your life situation. So DCA and be smart with your yields in a down market.
And it shows how shrewd Bill Gates has been in his investments. Before all this started rising, he saw that food supply is one of those strategic places to put money into by buying all the farmland around the States. So just follow the smart money and you can see where things are headed in this case.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good stuff.
All right. So before we get into Factor FUD, we are bringing that back, and I really want to get your guys' thoughts on this too. Like, how can we improve on Factor FUD? Give me some comments in the chat. What direction you want us to see that roll into. But before we do any of that, make sure you guys go follow us and click on that link in the chat. Go check out our Discord. We'd love to have you guys over at our MetaFam. MetaFi is our parent company that sponsors this channel. We absolutely love that they're able to help us out in that way. If you are excited about DCTV and you want more of that action, go check us out in our Discord. Link is in the description as well as in the chat. You want to talk about traditional finance, you want to talk about anything mining related, cryptocurrency related, you want to learn about more in this space, that is going to be the spot for you to hang out.
Absolutely. And one of our community members, Indo Cryptor, just said good morning, and we're going to have him on the show this Friday. covering NFTs and rug pulls. So it's going to be quite interesting. So join us. And if you want to start the conversation early, join the Discord. He's in there participating, and we're all talking about this.
Yeah.
It's going to be an exciting show.
Yeah, absolutely. So looking forward to that. All right. So fact or FUD?
Ooh.
So very interesting article that came out from Decrypt at decrypt.com. If you guys want to go check that out, Nassim Nicholas Taleb and Tamp, I really kind of want you to take the torch on this, but it says that Bitcoin's a tumor, and Nassim Taleb is a Black Swan author, and basically just says he just shits on Bitcoin because he doesn't understand it, hasn't really done any true due diligence on it, at least from my perspective. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, it's 100% FUD. I mean, we're in a bear market right now. Things are slow. Things are boring all the way around. People are just going to come out with FUD nonstop and act like we haven't ever been here before with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Okay. Bitcoin at one point went from $1,000 all the way back to $75, and it bounced back. I was there when it went to $20,000 all the way back down to $3,000. And now here we are again, going from about $68,000, $69,000 all the way back down to $15,000-ish. This is not the first rodeo. People like this simply don't understand cryptocurrencies. They want to link it to something like the tech market because that's what it follows stock-wise right now. They want to link it to criminal activity or something that it has nothing to do with. You have to understand the fundamental point of Bitcoin and realize that whenever there's a dip in market price, what will always resurrect Bitcoin at the end of the day is it going back to its fundamental purpose, which is peer-to-peer electronic cash, which is me being able to say, I will send this money to my artisan in Mexico without government interference or a bad actor interference. It is me saying, I will give my money to my people in Brazil and not have to worry about anything else. It is me saying, I am taking a trip to Asia and I don't want to bring cash, traveler's checks, or anything outdated, and I can bring my value with me there. That use case alone is always what makes Bitcoin bounce. And then when we're out of this boring, FUD-ridden bear market and things are going up again and things are fun and use cases are fun to project and think about, then all of a sudden that's when everybody comes around, everybody wants Bitcoin, everybody believes in Bitcoin, until we have to have some sort of market correction inevitably after a few years. So again, this sort of stuff is FUD because people that put this stuff out want to link Bitcoin to the stock market or want to link Bitcoin to trying to take over world currencies, all at once, instead of focusing on the fundamental point of Bitcoin, the whole reason it was invented in the first place. And that is what is ultimately going to have Bitcoin prevail in a bear market and bounce just like it did all the times prior. FUD, boom, baby, FUD.
And you know what's interesting about this too is that Taleb declared Bitcoin a failure because of its volatility and said that he was selling his Bitcoin. This motherfucker owned Bitcoin. And then shits on it. And it said in April of last year, he continued his downward spiral to no coinerdom.
Good.
Yeah. Claiming that Bitcoin has characteristics of an open Ponzi, which every Bitcoin bear always loves to talk about how it's a Ponzi scheme. That is kind of like one of the buzzwords that they're always using. I'm kind of with Mr. DeSoto here. He says it's waiting for a crypto black swan so he can get in at lower prices. That kind of seems like why he's speaking the way he is. This guy actually owned it, sold it, and now is trying to push it down even further. That's
because like Coinbase's customer support wasn't up to par for him, right?
Yes,
it was
the trigger. He was saying,
ow, my vagina hurts, and I'm not going to do this any longer.
Yeah, he couldn't because of that frustration. So you can tell that he was more a speculator than doing his own research and understanding why Bitcoin exists. And he was telling the Lebanese people, I don't know if you guys have been watching the news, they're using tanks and they're using a lot of violence to get to their funds nowadays. He's got a problem, or his timing his timing was not good of his entry because he's expecting it to go full moon the entire trip up. In this case, back in 2021,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Peter just said, I just turned on this TV. I heard vagina.
Timestamp.
Yeah, timestamp.
We're going to clip that.
Yeah. So, sorry, Talib, if we called you a vagina.
No, we did.
It
He
wasn't.
is
Made it.
vagina.
No, I
That's
said his vagina hurts. That's
Okay.
what
So literally what happened is his timing was off. Like so many people getting into the industry during a bull run.
Well, I don't know. I mean, selling Bitcoin in February of 21, pretty good timing.
And then
It's
it
not
a
bad.
failure because of Coinbase.
After he made a ton of money on it, I'm sure.
Correct.
Yeah, he guys, he's just being a Karen at this point. This is what it is. This is Talib Karen.
It looks as though our very own Brandon
Was he coming
at the Data Lord has some comments about this.
Yo, Brandon.
What up?
Oh, well
Hey, good morning.
done.
What's
Hey,
up, brother?
Aboard.
Tam, you've been nailing it this morning. Preach, sister, preach.
Oh, thank you.
I'm just letting you
Thank
know,
you,
you've been-
my little
you've been
my
nailing
Viking
it.
love.
Yeah.
This is Brandon is our in-house Viking. Next time he comes on, we'll put the hair back and woo, give him a sword, baby. Anyways, go ahead.
Got
Now
work
that
to
our
do, you know?
online love confessions are over.
That was awkward. Come on, Dave.
Yeah, what do you want?
What
do you want?
were we
Right
doing?
here.
Oh, I
Come
just
on.
wanted to join the peanut gallery like Greg. I heard Greg talking about people's genitals or something and decided I needed to come on to moderate. Like, all right, it's too much military.
Our sponsors are gonna be angry with us.
You know, that's funny too, because we were told yesterday, no more cussing, you're sponsored now, this, that, and the other, and now vagina is the catalyst for this segment of the show now. Welcome to the vagina catalog.
No,
was fair game.
CCTV can cuss.
Yeah.
It's a God-given body part.
Yes,
You
it
know?
is.
And it was the proper technical term.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, that's right.
I tried.
We could have just said pussy, and that would
And who
It
doesn't
is.
love that?
or the C word.
No.
Charlie.
Why is you saying pussy okay, but then you censor yourself saying C word?
Because
Is
I
that the
don't
worst
want
one in
you,
your
I don't
head?
want the YouTube ears to like kick us off. I don't know which words are gonna get us booted or not.
No, it's
All right.
true.
Yeah, we
There's
hope to see you guys tomorrow.
you were
Exactly.
talking about Karen, so I mean, you got to be careful, right?
Yeah, thanks.
No
Exactly.
one knows what is going on right now.
Yeah, sorry. Let's get back to the
Welcome to the show.
This show is terrible.
free range.
This show
chicken.
sucks, but we're glad you're watching.
Come laugh with us.
So, like you said, the timing is he cashed out,
Yeah.
and if he quit Coinbase in his area, part of the world, you have so many other exchanges you can actually come out through or come back to fiat through. So he actually stepped out at a bad time because Lebanon was about to enter where it's at today.
Oh my God,
can't
we
even-
haven't talked about that yet. We did talk about that last week, didn't we?
Yes,
I'm sorry. Yeah.
where you can't even get your money from the bank.
And now
Yes.
everybody's robbing the banks.
Yes,
It's
to
insane.
get their own money.
It's insane.
I can imagine the guy. Hey, bro, no, leave that cash. I just need mine. Just,
Right,
just,
right.
just mine. I'm not here to rob everybody else. Just me.
Yeah.
I want my shit.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up. Like, let's talk about that. That happened in America too during the Great Depression.
Yeah,
People-
they ran the banks. Right.
People were trying to go to the banks to get their money out, and the banks were like, "We don't got it." And so people started losing their cool. And I mean, civil society breaks down pretty quick as soon as people can't get their money or can't get their food or can't get their water. And so, like, I hate to tell you this, but like everything costs one bullet if people break down in civil society. Like, so it's critical that people learn how to like really own their own wealth, right? If you own, like, Bitcoin solves that problem straight up, dude.
Yep.
Like, if you own your own wealth and you have your own keys, if it's not your keys, it's not your cheese, right? So let's look
Yeah,
at that
you're
as a
still liquid.
principle. Like, we can prevent the entire society from breaking down, as we've seen in the 30s in the States, and also Lebanon right now as an example, right? Like,
And at this moment, people from Ukraine that fled,
Yeah.
there's quite a few examples that fled with their values in Bitcoin through the border, no problems, no questions asked, no confiscation, nothing. And now you have Lebanese that could transfer it to a more stable economy and
Yep.
bring it out in that fiat and continue growing. So they're still liquid. Bitcoin is still liquid in situations like these, unlike the fiat of the local currency. I've lived through quite a few of those downturns, and the people who had foreign currency were the ones that survived those local disasters that were occurring. And that's what we're going to see with, at this moment, the dollar is going to continue rising because the interest rates are rising. But there's so much of our local industry that's going to suffer, the stock market and everything else because of it. So there's a balancing that occurs during these scenarios. But
Yeah.
Bitcoin is still liquid and transferable, and your value is yours still.
Yes, and I just want to add to that. I mean, I understand that Jaime has lived through like Venezuela type bank runs, but any person who was in the United States during COVID, when we quickly discovered that 2 weeks to flatten the curve was far from the truth, you have to remember the bank runs, not only on the actual banks themselves, but even on the grocery stores, on toilet paper. Remember this? I mean, this was not that long ago. Toilet paper, hygiene items, you could not get it. Grocery stores completely empty. And they want to just blame that on the supply chain. But what that is a bank run. It was a bank run on the grocery store.
Yep.
But the same thing happens to actual banks. If you think, well, I have $50,000 in a safety deposit box, I'm fine. Sweetheart, you can't get into your safety deposit box when it's bank run time. It's not going to happen. It's not your safety deposit box anymore. And it certainly is not your cash to withdraw. So Bitcoin is an answer to that. So please don't think that this is something that cannot touch the US, because it already did, and you got a taste of it. If you choose to ignore that lesson, that's on you, sweetheart.
It's too
Yeah.
real.
And
Yeah.
remember, BlackRock and all these trading firms are entering Bitcoin trading today as all of this is happening. So please keep your eyes on the big picture of what's going on here. If it's shit, like Talib says, well, why is BlackRock and everyone else getting into the game itself? There is a future. So
Yeah.
please watch the tea leaves.
Yeah, it's not FUD. They're getting in for fact. If somebody like that is getting in for fact.
Yep.
Yeah.
And look at the long run too. Like Bitcoin has 21 million Bitcoins ever to be in supply, right?
There's no
majority
harder
of-
asset.
Well, the majority of those are going to be lost. Like people suck at managing keys. Like during the early years with like Mt. Gox, like people just. I mean, I've done this when I got started too. Like, you know, I'd print out a little paper wallet and I wouldn't put it. I just put it in a pile of papers that wasn't properly secured in a fire safe or something.
Important papers. I've lost
Yeah,
mine too.
yeah. But like looking back, it's like there's probably a few hundred, maybe a few $1,000 on those today, or you know, at the peak of the bear or the bull market, peak of the bear market. No,
My
the peak of
dog
the
ate my keys.
yeah, dog ate my keys, right? But you don't get it back, right? So here's the point, though: if that introduction of supply is fixed, right? We have 21 million ever, and people keep losing their keys. If you're just holding, you're going to end up having a bigger slice of the actual, pie that can move around. And so you have a vested interest to just dollar cost average, just hold your coins, because BlackRock, for example, once it's 21 million, they have to buy your coins. They can't just get more unless people are selling, right? So there's kind of like a long play here of like, look to your family's legacy, hold on to your coins, buy and hold, buy and hold, buy and hold, because the time is short. Once we hit, where we're on that last Bitcoin being mined, like it'll go into dust forever. But like you have a unique opportunity right now, is I guess the point.
Yes, gold, you can still mine it and produce more of it. Bitcoin, that's it. It's programmatically, and it's so portable, like easily portable. For example, Indo Crypto was speaking of converting all your jewelry and everything into gold bars. So that's, in the end, you'll get paid only spot gold plus maybe a 6% markup to do it, but you'll only get the value of gold, even if it's a special design. You really don't get the value in a moment of crisis. So Bitcoin itself it's clearly, you can see in the chain, you can see where it's at, you can actually extrapolate the growth curve, which Peter has a few releases on explaining that adoption curve where we're at, and then the explosion once we have true market global adoption. And these players that we're seeing today in the news, they're setting themselves up for that run, for that scarcity that's built into the programming. Everyone else, you'll hear things like Ponzi or, well, why is it dropping if the interest rates are going up and there's inflation? You know, those are the critical, we're going to reach a critical mass where people will wake up to the reality of this. BlackRock's waking up, and all of, just like Bill Gates started waking up before our entire crisis of inflation by buying farmland,
right,
and food, like
right,
securing his future for his legacy in growth, because he knew this is what's next to be affected. Well, Bitcoin, BlackRock, and all these other institutions are seeing what Bitcoin's true value is. And then you'll start saying, that was the smart guy, or I should have done this, or I should have listened to the whole thing. Two men.
Just redecorating.
Yeah, so a firm between two men. We're changing the paradigm here.
So this is actually a really good question. I want to get into the
I literally just watched you do that, Brad. Like, what is this dude doing? Why now? Why right now?
because it was driving me crazy.
You know what?
All I saw was wires behind me. I'm like, this is fucking stupid.
Ask the audience for tomorrow's show. Although Jaime does have to take off early, I was gonna park my butt where that fern is on today's
Yes.
show. But Brad's like, I like moving the camera, so we go back and forth. But I was gonna say, do you want my ass or the fern there tomorrow? But Jaime's got to take off early, so I guess I'm gonna be there either way.
Yes. Sorry, OCD moment,
fern
guys.
is dope, dude. That fern is dope.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
It is.
Yeah.
Brandon, don't encourage him.
its name is Fern. Good guy.
Don, actually, before we get into the next topic, Don asked a really good question. We know that Bitcoin is going to continue to be mined into well past 2100 the year, and so should we even worry about it? But I thought this was a really good question. He said, what happens to all the mining centers after all the Bitcoin gets mined?
Yeah,
Can
so
I
the
answer that?
tokenomics, Don Fran.
Up.
Oh, sorry.
Brandon actually.
Brandon, okay, good.
Let's chime in,
Yeah,
Brandon.
yeah. So from a technical perspective,
Raise your volume, Brandon, if you don't
me,
mind.
I'm quiet. What?
Yes.
What?
Thank you.
All right.
There.
Is this any better for you?
Yes.
Yep.
Is this better
Yes.
for you?
Thank you, sir.
Right. Yeah. So from a technical perspective, the early Bitcoin years, we had blocks being majority introduction of supply. So part of that 21 million Bitcoins introduced into supply, people can trade it around, right? As time goes on, the transaction fee becomes a much bigger chunk of what you're actually paid, right? Until eventually there will be just dust, Satoshis of actual introduction of supply. And the big chunk is just going to be people actually using the blockchain to send transactions to one another. And, ideally at that time, the transaction fees are going to be much, much lower per person because there's so much volume, and it will be worth it for the miners to continue securing the network properly. So mining's never going to go away, and it shouldn't go away. If anything, we just have to optimize our, impacts and look at the best, most sustainable electrical, modes, which is why nuclear is a big deal. That's why, we're looking at, hydroelectric, Peter meme. Like we're looking at all these modes that aren't going to be poor stewardship, right?
Absolutely. So miners fulfill two functions, or reward in two ways. One is issuing Bitcoin from the 21 million that we'll only have, and two, the transaction fees, like Data Lord just explained. There is a complete shift into where it's fully transactional at this way down the road, but the value of Bitcoin will justify the existence of the miners, because something is going to secure the network, and everyone already transacting in this protocol for transfer of value will know this is a secure choice or a secure network to do so. Mm-hmm. And who knows, if the technology evolves, we have until 2140 to figure out the next iteration of Bitcoin. But the foundation has been laid, and it works.
Yeah. Good shit. Good shit. I thought it was just a great question to ask, so I didn't want to let that one go. Thanks, Don, for that one.
Yeah, thank you.
So moving on, before we get into the next topic, again, just as a reminder, make sure you're clicking on that Discord link in our chat. Become part of the MetaFam crew. We'd love to have you guys hanging out there with us. You want to learn more about all this mining shit that we're talking about that maybe you're not familiar with. Go check us out over at MetaFam Discord. And thanks again for MetaFi for sponsoring today's show. We also have
next week, Wednesday, you're going to see a giveaway on our Discord of some MetaFi swag. So
there you go.
Make sure you join up.
Yes. And a reminder that this Thursday, we have offsite show. So Decentralized TV will be offsite at a different time at a college. I don't know if you want to expand.
We're going to plug the shit out of that tomorrow while you're not here.
Nice.
It's super dope, though.
We're on
It's
it.
so dope.
Excellent.
All right. So next topic of discussion here, we have an interesting one that Tam brought to the table. The SEC can't get their shit together. We have no idea how this is being regulated. Is Bitcoin an asset? Is Ethereum a security? We have no idea. The SEC filed a federal lawsuit Monday against crypto influencer Ian Bellina for his failure to register cryptocurrency as a security before launching a 2018 initial coin offering, or ICO. Everything that first appeared out of the run-of-the-mill. The SEC has for years filed civil suits against individuals and organizations for rolling out unregistered ICOs. Champ,
ICO, by the way, is initial coin offerings.
Yes.
Yep. Thank you, Jaime. I was going to ask you to define that for the crowd.
Appreciate that. So, I mean, what? I don't even know where to start. Yeah.
Well, this is the reason I brought this to the table. It's not so much, it's due to the overreach where we went from here. So as stated, Ian Bellina was a huge shiller of initial coin offering or ICO projects in the crypto space. A lot of people lost a lot of money, and SEC went after him as basically promoting ICOs without a license, which everybody can understand that. Okay. I mean, that makes sense. And if that's all that this article talked about, then for once I'm like, okay, at least they're starting to get in the right direction. But insert the ingredient of, Gensler, and here comes the massive overreach where the article took a turn and went from talking about Ian Bellina all of a sudden to the ETH merge. And now that ETH is merged from a proof of work to a proof of stake coins, there's a section in this lawsuit against Ian Bellina that talks about now that the majority of the nodes for proof of stake ETH are housed in the United States, the SEC is trying to claim complete authority on all ETH ever. What? Yeah, do we have a soundbite for WTF? Because this is insane.
That's the one. That's the clip that.
So, I mean, the article is brought to light just because what are we doing? Everybody agrees in regulation to a degree. And I understand that we have to experiment to get there. But again, I guess us trying to give the government and people that have no idea about cryptocurrency any benefit of the doubt that they might start slow and just regulate in a manner that makes sense. Again, that's our fault for assuming that they would do anything logical whatsoever. So overreach, Ethereum is decentralized now. There's nodes all over the world. Again, not any one person owns it. How in the world is the SEC going to say that all Ethereum falls under the jurisdiction of our branch of government?
Totally. And let's talk about VPNs for a second. That's a joke about plugging a VPN, but for real, but for real though, like you don't know that's such a feckless claim. Like the majority of the nodes are in the United States. Like you don't know that. Like if anything, like VPNs obscure the reality of where they're actually hosted. So that's a completely unprovable point to, try to build policy based on. And, yeah, I did want to say too, there's probably a lot of people who are part of this new Bitcoin crypto class. I don't know that they have the full background of what happened during the whole ICO boom. It was kind of like NFTs. Like, you know how like we had like tons and tons of hype around NFTs, and there was a bunch of people, I mean, it's still happening, but it's less now. You know, there's a bunch of people who were just dumping BS, and nobody really knew what they were doing. They're just like, I don't know, I got a monkey, you know, like, am I rich, you know? So like that was kind of happening with ICOs. People were like, hey, I have this new sick coin, you got to have my coin, trust me, it's unlimited supply and you got to buy it now. And then they'd rug pull, they'd disappear, and it'd be, there's no project, there's no developers, there's no GitHub, there's no actual work being done, and people dropped a bunch of money with high expectations being set and no delivery. And so that's why, you know, there was regulation that stepped in and was like, yo, you can't do this. Like, if you're saying this is an investment, even if it's a speculative investment, there's conditions to the business contract, and you're doing people wrong, and we don't allow that type of crime in our country, at least. We try not to, at least, you know, by policy. But, you know, that same thing is kind of happening here again, with apparently ETH being totally proof of stake, and people thinking that it's, you know, in U.S. Jurisdiction. So
Yeah,
absolutely. And it's for all of you that aren't familiar with the crypto space, we can liken it to the .com era. Remember pets.com? Oh my God, billions of dollars just because it had a .com attached to it.
Yeah.
And following Don Fran's comment, where I bet part of the regulation is they stopped new coins. They already looked into it, and so many were just code copied and pasted.
yeah,
But fraud went up 6%, and that's why
600%.
Ethereum. Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
6x.
6x is 600%.
Oh, see,
Just helping you out, bro.
guys, I'm
Yeah.
an immigrant. Okay, I don't know these things. I don't see these things many days. So
Say now you're using it as a crutch. I called you Mexican earlier, and you got really offended.
yeah, because I'm next door, guys. Dude, it's like, it's like, dude, don't miss the country. I know there's a little blip in there, but fuck. You heard me, bro. So in terms of Ethereum, a lot of people during the ICO era, they just copied Ethereum code and launched a .com. Let's put it that way. I'm trying to explain it so greenbeans can understand what is happening at this moment. So just like there was an implosion with .coms, there needs to be a cleansing of the market for these Ponzi's and these situations that are occurring. Maybe that's where the SEC is trying to use as a basis. Hey, man, we handled the .com. We're freaking handling this one now under the same terms, without understanding it's decentralized. It's not in one country. It's global. There's quite a few other principles. And the Howey test in terms of, was Ethereum launched as a security or a utility token? And there's quite a bit to be unwrapped in this big ass onion of legislation. So we just got to watch it and see where it goes.
There's a huge, I guess, there's great confusion in what actually they're classifying as an asset or a security, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And they still haven't really ironed that out. So to me, it just kind of seems as if the I don't want to say it's there's no basis to this lawsuit, but I also like it doesn't. We haven't even really clearly identified what makes a cryptocurrency an asset, what makes it a security. And until that happens, I just don't understand how they can even bring lawsuits to the table. Like, how can you make your argument if you haven't even been able to identify any?
Could you see this lawsuit being used as an avenue to define it?
It is just like XRP is being used to define it also. And XRP is like, well, Ethereum is a utility. Why am I in that? You know,
Right.
And that's where they come to the Howey test says, hey man, did you raise this token or launch this token to raise funds for your company? That's
Right.
a security.
Yeah.
Versus
Which is kind of what Ethereum did.
actually Ethereum was using the Bitcoin technology of the blockchain that was developed to secure transactions. So in other words, as a validation.
You're talking
of the
about
transaction.
Ethereum Classic, right?
No.
It technically, let me be this guy here. I'll answer.
Yeah.
this.
Well, he's
Uh,
the, by the way, guys, he's our
yeah.
architect. Systems are he understands.
Yeah.
So let's go, bro.
He says
Yes.
technically a lot, by the way.
Yes.
Man, I just want us to be like
Where's
right.
my popcorn?
But like, yeah. So Ethereum had like a fork happen with Ethereum Classic where Vitalik Buterin, the creator of Ethereum, he credited people back funds after a hack, right? There's a DAO hack. And so after he gave the people their money back, a ton of people were like, whoa. The whole reason this whole thing has value is because it's immutable. And so if you're going back on the immutability and you're saying that actually it's not immutable, then this isn't the real Ethereum. We're not going to respect that decision. And so people forked the code at that point before that return of funds that was hacked was contributed to the accounts. And so people with Ethereum Classic ignored any history beyond that and said, no, we're going to go in our own direction. And so for people who had Ethereum before that event, they had both Ethereum Classic and Ethereum. And this happened also with like Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, right? Where wherever you have a fork, the people who hold coins previous history have them in both chains. So that answered your question, my gift to you.
Yes. Well, you brought a good point, Data Lord, is the fact that immutability, just for everybody's understanding, it means whatever has been written cannot be changed. So it's a chain of truth that
The code is
moves
law.
on. The code. So literally by what Vitalik did was, you know what? We can change this one. This one here. And so it ceased to be a true utility token. And that's where that divergence occurred. So, and it was under economic situation, right?
It was during a hack, but yeah,
But
I
he did it for economic reasons.
he was trying to make his community whole, and I think that like the emotion of that is probably in the right place, but the ethic of it, I got to ask that question. Like, if you're debasing the value of everyone's immutability, that's the reason people even have faith in the system. They believe that they put their money there, no one's going to act like a bank and just arbitrate between, right? And so like, I personally hold this position. I don't think that mainline Ethereum is anything more than a software developer kit. I think it's a wonderful experiment for developing enterprise applications. It can certainly do those things, but I don't personally consider it a fully decentralized system, because technically at one point in time we thought it was, and Vitalik edited the blockchain. So, especially with proof of stake, now I imagine it's easier for them to do that type of thing. But from on paper, it is decentralized, right?
Absolutely.
I like this. I want a shirt that says "Code is Law."
Okay, it'll be in our store soon.
Let's do it.
We'll
And
be
you'll
launching
meet
the
the
store
man
soon.
who just suggested that Friday.
That's right. Good shit. Great conversation. I wanted to touch on this Ford topic, but I don't even know if it ties into what we were talking about. Let's just do it anyway.
Send it.
Let's just do it anyway.
Well, there was an internal announcement on Ford recently.
An internal announcement?
Yes.
Oh yeah, internal announcement. Greg got himself a new Mach-E.
Don't be
Yeah,
shy.
I got a Mach-E.
He's looking at it, guys.
and that's the news. Okay.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Great show, everybody.
After the show.
I hit the bullet.
Okay, so yeah, let's just touch on this real quick. So Ford tanked after hours yesterday. They said inflation is pushing supplier costs $1 billion higher than expected for the quarter. Not for the year, for the quarter, joining the chorus of major corporations warning about macro challenges rippling through the economy. The automaker expects adjusted earnings before interest and taxes in the range of $1.4 billion to $1.7 billion when it reports results next month. The preliminary estimate is well below the $3.7 billion in adjusted EBITDA Ford reported last quarter and the $3 billion it earned a year ago. Shortages of key parts also keep its inventory of half-completed vehicles elevated, according to a statement they said on Monday. So,
good timing, Greg.
yeah,
Great timing,
Yeah.
brother.
I know, right? I know, right? Be lucky that you actually got a Ford.
Hell yeah.
So,
No kidding.
At the right price, too.
Right.
That's all I could afford. Yeah.
yeah. This, the reason I brought this up is, just continue the inflation conversation with the Fed. I meant to bring it up earlier in the show when we were discussing it, but I think this goes to show that inflation still is a problem despite some of the moves down we have seen in gas. We saw such a surprise for CPI. Joe Biden comes out and says inflation only moved up an inch, even though it was up
the highest it's
8%.
ever been. Yeah.
8% year over year, no big deal. But yeah,
Disregard that. Disregard that.
That was the weirdest thing I ever watched. It's like, President Biden, people are really upset. Inflation is at all-time record high. They're trying to afford food and all this stuff. He's like, ho. It only went up a smidgen.
like what the fuck?
What do I say to this? I don't want to disrespect you as the president of the United States, but what the fuck, man? What am I supposed to say? This sucker said no. That's what Biden said. No, it's not.
and then he doubled down too. They asked him about his age, and he was like, "Watch me." Watch me. That was his answer. Just watch me. Like, I'm watching, buddy.
About running for re-election.
Yeah, he was asked about his age. He was just like, watch me. Yeah,
not to get off topic, but my goodness. And then they're like crawfishing everywhere because he said COVID is over 2 different times. Look, I'm at the Detroit Auto Show, first time in 3 years. So is COVID officially over? Yes, it's over. And now everyone else is like, no. It means we can't cancel student loans. We can't Medicare, Medicaid has got to go if COVID's over. So this dude is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Put your aviators on and just look like the cool old dude in the back. That's
by the way, he does pull off the aviators.
Bro, the aviators, they do him well. You hate the guy if you want, but the aviators do him right.
He can pull them off.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. He looks like a badass. You guys know Jeff Dunham?
Yeah.
Yes.
He looks like a badass Walter with those glasses on.
You're not wrong.
Glasses, he does. Totally. Now I gotta pull him up.
Ventriloquism comes up.
For our viewers, we gotta pull him up.
Were we talking about Ford?
Yeah, we were talking about Ford. But
So
who cares? We're
Ford,
at the end of the
right?
show. Nobody cares.
Watch me.
So as Don says, he also said GM's leading the EV race. Yeah, he's special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you actually racing? Is the question.
There he is. There's our president of the United States. We put some glasses on him, and I'm telling you, that is fucking Joe Biden. He's got a little less hair, but it's pretty close.
Watch me.
Get your shit and get out.
Back to the show.
So anyways, just to wrap that up, I think obviously, with the Fed, meeting today and how this all circles back to inflation, 75 basis points, in my opinion, still very much on the table. I think it's probably going to be the more likely scenario. 100 basis points is going to absolutely crush the market, but can we blame him if that happens, given what Ford just told us last night? I don't think so. A couple of our folks who are watching mentioned, checking out or mentioned 6.5% is what we need to get to. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off. I don't think that happens, but I do think that we are going to continue to be on this trajectory of rate hikes until something breaks. We're going to have to be forced into a recession, in my opinion. Now, I used to not think that way, but at this point, it doesn't seem as if anything's really fixing the problem. And there are actually factors that are making this worse even now. So we'll see. We'll see how this all shakes out. And if you guys can go check me out at Own the Chaos. I will be talking about this and reacting to this live at 3:45 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure you come and check me out. Would love to have your guys' perspective. You can get mine. We can talk about whatever the hell else is next. And we'll be back here tomorrow as well at 9 a.m. Eastern time to talk about whatever is going on in the market. Please go check us out at Discord. The link is in the description. Go check us out at MetaFam. Once again, thanks for Metafy for supporting the channel. We can't thank them enough. And Tamp, Greg, Brandon, thanks for showing up. And all right, find this guy too.
By the way, one last statement. That
Otto.
run up we just had as a market maker, if you're expecting bad news and you do this run up, you're clearing all the shorts.
Yeah, so you can pull the rug again.
That's right. And now continue in the right direction.
Okay.
Go ahead and stack sats and hodl. That's the answer.
That's it.
That's
What a
right.
That's the opportunity. Stack sats and hodl. Let's go.
Amen.
That's right. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow.
Have a good one.
Until then, bottle.
Boom, baby.